Welcome to the verse-by-verse study of the book of Proverbs. We shall begin chapter 24 today. Proverbs are a gift from God, a gift of God's wisdom to give you and me practical advice on daily living, and also, as we shall see, to give us hope, which brings peace. This chapter begins with verse 1 and 2. Do not envy the wicked. Do not desire their company, for their hearts plot violence, and their lips talk about making trouble. Recall from chapters 14 and last week, chapter 23, do not let your hearts envy sinners. A heart at peace gives life to the body, but envy rots the bones. As we said last week, envy is this feeling of discontentment because of a desire, a passion, a fascination with someone else's possessions or position. This world is fascinated and envious of the rich and famous. The celebrities have millions of followers on social media. People want to wear their clothes and have the same lifestyle. Proverbs is warning that we need to be careful who we choose as our role models, who are our influencers within our life. Human beings can often disappoint. God's wisdom never disappoints and should be the primary influencer in our lives, which is the point of the next two verses. By wisdom a house is built, and through understanding it is established. Through knowledge its rooms are filled with rare and beautiful treasures. The author uses a house as a metaphor for our lives. God is saying that if we build our lives on the foundation of God's wisdom, we're building a truly spectacular, beautiful house. There's this promise that that house will be filled with beautiful experiences and memories, and those are ones we'll treasure for a lifetime, as opposed to the house built on envy that will result in unrest and dissatisfaction, which will rot our bones. Next, the wise prevail through great power, and those who have knowledge muster their strength. Surely you need guidance to wage war, and victory is won through many advisors. The author is reminding us that walking in God's wisdom is not easy. It requires strength of character to prevail. And where does that strength come from? It comes from God. The key is daily you and I humble ourselves and ask God ask and listen to God's counsel. And we hear his voice through prayer, through his scripture, through his word, and through godly people and experiences that he brings into our lives daily. Next, the author offers a contrast. Wisdom is too high for fools. In the assembly at the gate, they must not open their mouths. So who is a fool? Recall, a fool is anyone that rejects God and rejects God's wisdom. Since the fool has rejected God, by definition, they've rejected God's wisdom and is therefore too high on the shelf for them to reach. The fool can pretend to be wise using the latest wisdom of the world, but God's wisdom is the one that's prevailed, the one that's been proven over the thousands of years. So in this culture, there's the great debates and the settlement of disputes happen at the public city gates. The wise, godly elders who acted as judges would assemble in public, debate, and make decisions. And what the advice of this proverb says, it is easy for someone to spot a fool when compared to these godly men and their godly wisdom. So just like the verse is saying that, as Mark Twain said, it is better to look the fool by saying nothing than to open your mouth and confirm that you indeed are a fool. Next, whoever plots evil will be known as a schemer or a troublemaker. The schemes of folly are sin, and people detest a mocker. This term, known as, implies a reputation. Sin leaves a lasting mark, a mark of destruction. Sin always leaves bitterness and scars. Sin always takes, it never gives. Next, if you falter in a time of trouble, how small is your strength? Again, walking with God and walking in God's wisdom is not easy, especially in times of trouble, meaning times of stress and times of pressure. Our faith is tested when you and I are under pressure. Do we cave in to fleshly desire? Do we submit to peer pressure? Do we attempt to compromise? This is an encouragement to stay vigilant and to remain on that path of wisdom. Next, rescue those being, you could add unjustly, rescue those being unjustly led away to death. Hold back means save. Hold back, save those staggering towards slaughter. If you say, but we knew nothing about this, does not he, meaning God, who weighs the hearts perceive it? Does not he who guards your life know it? Will he, God, not repay everyone according to what they have done? The proverb is pointing out that it is pointless for you and me to offer excuses to God. Recall, God searches our hearts. He knows our hearts. He knows our true motivations. And he will justly repay whatever our actions were. Reward us for our good actions and our not so good actions. But he'll especially reward those actions where we invest time, talent, and treasure into others. The proverb is pointing out, if God brings someone into our life for us to help them, we are not to pretend, I knew nothing about it. We are to help that person, and he in turn will bless us. Next, a beautiful description of wisdom. Eat honey, my son, for it is good. It is good. Honey from the comb is sweet to your taste. Know also that wisdom is like honey for you. If you find it, there is a future hope for you, and your hope will not be cut off. The author is using honey as a metaphor for wisdom. Honey, of course, was a sweetener, but also was used as a healing medicine and also for food preservation. The metaphor is carried into the next verse, 14, with this major promise. God's wisdom will bring each of us something that is vital for our daily living and is often in very short supply. Biblical hope, which is very much unlike our English definition of hope, this is a Hebrew word that means that God's wisdom is promised to bring us a true sense of security, a sense of peace, and a confidence in our future. Just like was promised in Jeremiah, plans to give us hope and a future. But a fair question, how do we gain such confidence, such security? Because if we give it a try, if we walk in God's wisdom, we shall see, we shall experience that God's wisdom is 100% true. We'll close with these last two verses. Do not lurk like a thief near the house of the righteous. Do not plunder their dwelling place. For though the righteous fall 7 times, they will rise again. But the wicked stumble when calamity strikes. So we have a warning to those that want to do harm to those that walk in God's wisdom. We also have a promise that yes, indeed, in this sinful world, the righteous will experience troubles. But the promise is that these troubles will only be temporary. Unlike the unrighteous, we can have confidence that God will restore us and we will rise again, as it says. How many times? The number 7 means as many times as it takes. On that note, we shall close and finish chapter 24 next week. Until then, may God bless you. Bless you and your family with both his grace and peace. Aloha.